Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. Check it out, I've got the 57 back down on the ground after an entire year. So in this short video, I'm going to talk to you about the tires that I'm using on this restoration, and I'm going to talk to you about the tire that I'm going to use in the trunk of the body, which is a little bit different than the tires I'm going with on the chassis. So let's get to it.
Let me tell you, hugging up the big monkey man. Let me tell you, hugging up the big monkey man. I never saw you, I only had a view. Hugging up the big monkey man.
Okay, so here we are. Here's the tires. Here's my nicely powder-coated wheels that I did in a vanilla type color, rather than an almond color. An almond it's pretty common, but it's a little bit lighter than this. I really like the little bit darker vanilla color. It really looks nice against the white walls. But the tire that I use on these is a Coker Classic Radial 165 R15. 165 R15 Radial. These radials are a much sturdier construction than what would have been original on these tires, which would have been a bias tire. The bias tire is much thinner, it's much more flexible. In my 1967 that I drive, I do have a bias tire on that, and sometimes I'm driving down the road and I can feel the car just sway because those tires are so flexible. So I decided to go with the radial on this because, you know, these suspensions aren't that sophisticated. They're pretty simple, but this radial tire will give it a really solid feel on the road. The bite, the width of this tire is much more substantial than what you would have seen in the bias tire. I've got a bias tire right here. You can see how thin that is, and up against this radial, you can tell the difference. There's much more rubber on the road, so it will be a great feel. So it's a Coker Classic. I got this on jegs.com. You can get it at a couple of different parts places, but I got this on Jegs. Free shipping, came right to the door. So that's what I'm going with this. Now, the difficulty with the radial, because it's a much sturdier build, there's much more layer to it than the original bias tire. These really don't want to fit in the front compartment of the bodies on these Volkswagens. I've seen some people, you know, just take the air pressure out of them, but for me, I don't want to do that, because what if you do have a flat? You want to have a good spare. So I don't use the radial inside the trunk. I actually get a separate bias tire that will fit in there. So let's take a look at that. Okay, for the front spare tire, of course, in the Volkswagens, the safety logic is your spare tire is your first layer of safety, and then your gas tank is your second layer of safety. So it was really well planned on the part of Volkswagen. So this spare tire is pretty important. I went with a bias tire, Firestone. The bias will fit much better in the front tire compartment. Because when this car was manufactured, the radial that I'm using, the 165 R15 on those Cokers, is a much wider tire than this bias. This is a Firestone, I think I said that. So this Firestone fits, really nicely and easily in here. When that's inflated, it will fit right in there. The Cokers are going to be much more difficult, and as I said, a lot of times what folks have to do to get those radials is to let some air pressure out. But you know, I don't want to do that. I want this tire to be ready to go if I need it. And look, this bias would be fine if I needed to use this as a spare. So go with the Coker Nostalgia 165 R15 radials, and for the trunk, go with a Firestone bias 15. And it will fit very easily in here, and will be good to go, and it will look fantastic when you have it in there. So I hope this video is helped on the tires that I'm using on this 1957. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Thanks.